Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today we're going to take a radio, the Yaesu FTM-6000, and we're going to do a frequency expansion hack on it. We're going to remove a part inside that you can barely see. So break out your magnifying hardware, your apparati, because you're going to need a lot more magnification than your cheaters will get you. Let's get over to the workbench and get that part out. I don't know which one of these toys I am more excited about playing with today. We have a USB-C powered set of hot tweezers. You never heard of hot tweezers before? What, do you live under a rock? These are soldering irons, 2 of them, and they're designed for working with surface mount stuff. So I'm going to take a look at that today while we do a Mars mod on the FTM-6000 radio. This is Yaesu's dual bander 2 m 70 cm radio, and why you would want to do this, I have no idea, but I like tinkering with stuff and I like sharing stuff, and here we go. We can talk about all day long the reasons why you should or should not do this, or whether it's necessary or unnecessary. Let's just say if you don't have the right credentials, this is probably not legal where you are, so don't do it. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's get to doing it, because I think that playing with radios and learning about electronics and trying out hot tweezers, some newfangled thing that I've never done before, is totally fun. And that's what this hobby's all about, is experimenting. Do I have the skills? Do I have the talent? Can I get to the other end of this job and make this happen? And will this thing still work? And this isn't really hacking, because they designed the radio to do this thing. So this is really just exploring. Man, there are a ton of screws. 2 screws on each side, 4 screws on the top so far. There is a speaker connected here, and if you're really careful when you take it apart, there is a connector right there for the speaker itself. So we take the top cover off, and there isn't, man, I can't even see this. Right up next to this jack, can we focus? Right up next to this jack here, which I think is the control head jack. This is the microphone jack, this is the control head jack. There is a resistor, a surface mount component, a whatever, that is barely visible right up there. I'll get you some close-ups of this here in a second, that we need to remove. So this is a really neat trick here. I've got my cell phone camera set at 5x zoom, and we want to get up here to where these connectors are for the microphone and the control head, and see if I can do this. There is, right about there, underneath of that little dot that's telling me where the best shot is, there are 2 surface mount components in the same mounting plane as the back side of this guy here, and we want to get rid of that one right there. Let me get this picture while I'm in here. Get an even bigger zoom. Ooh, 10x. Wow, this is super hard to see. Let's get the USB soldering iron plugged in. Ooh, welcome. 23 degrees Celsius. Let's get you going. Long press this lower button here to get into work mode, and the temperature, she's a rising. That was fast. 300 degrees Celsius is the working temperature. Probably is some way in here to switch this into Fahrenheit. There we go, temperature unit, Celsius. There we go. Okay, 572 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's fairly intuitive. Long press the right button to get into the menu, and then when you're in there, left and right move you back and forth. Long press the left button again to get into the menu. Left and right move you up and down. Pick the thing that you want. Long press to get into the option. Change it back and forth the same way. Let's press both to get back out. And now we're back out. You can see the whole bar. Double press to get back out again. And then long press the left button to get it into work mode. We're in work mode. She's heating up. And we've reached our working temperature. Done. 522. 522 might not be enough to get this job done, but we're going to try it. Not hot enough. So we need to change the temperature. That's the wrong direction. That's the right direction. I'm going to put this up to 772. Poof, we're at 772 already. That was fast. Now let's get in there and get this done. And the cool thing about these tweezers, got it. Wow. That was easy. Get that off the tip of the iron there. Unplug the iron. The cool thing about these tweezers is there are 2 tips. So you can get both sides of the resistor at the same clip. And that's the thing removed. That is just crazy tiny. Wow. I doubt the camera's going to be able to focus on that all that well, but it's gone. Let's see how much damage I did. I take my power cable and plug her in. All right, no issues yet, no smoke yet. Let's do the on button. Helps if you turn the power supply on. That was a bit of a pucker moment. All right, now I'm going to put the radio back together and we're going to try a dummy load and see what kind of power we get. All right, we've got the tower of power here. We've got the radio on top. We've got a power meter here. This is going to be pretty close to accurate, but probably not 100% accurate. Close enough for what we're looking for. We want to see that there's actual output going out. And then down here to make it all legal, we have a dummy load. So first off, 143,975 is outside of the 2 meter ham band. The 2 meter ham band runs from 144 to 148, as y'all know. Can I transmit here? I can transmit there.
Achievement unlocked.
We're below the ham frequency. I'd expect halfway decent power output, 32. What power level am I on? Make sure we're on high power for all these tests. Transmit power, high. Awesome. So how low can we go? 142, still transmitting 30 watts. 140, 28 watts. These radios are not designed to transmit outside of their frequency range, so it doesn't surprise me that the filters aren't there. 139, still transmitting 28 watts. 137, 28 watts. We're starting to get into airband. This is why you don't do this stuff. Oh, you hear that band beep. Right there, 137. Transmit all the way down to the bottom of the band, 137. There's the top, 174. So 137 to 174. Let's get up to the higher end of VHF. And yes, if I push the button, it moves faster. 148. Yep, we're transmitting at the high end of the band. Let's go to 149. 39 watts at 149. 150, 40 watts. 151, let's go up to 160. 20 watts at 160. 170, 21 watts. 180. Yep, inhibit. Can't transmit on the 180 range. It's not going to open up full transmit on every single frequency. 179, 178, 177, 176, 175. I think 174 is going to be where it's at. No. 173. Right up to the edge. 173, 987. 174. 174, 150. Yep. All right, so 174.0 is the band edge for that lower portion of the band. Now, need to get up to the higher portion of the band. We hit the band button. This gets us into 430, which is UHF range. UHF is 420 to 450. Let's go down to the bottom to 420 and get us a frame of reference. All right, 420, 40 watts. Okay, I'll take that. Now let's go down even lower, 410. Inhibit. 411, 412, 413, 418, 419, 420. All right, that's as low as it goes. 450 is still inside the UHF ham band, so we should still be able to do that. Let's see how the high end of the spectrum works. 60 watts. Nice. Okay, so let's go one higher. We're now out of the ham band, and we're still transmitting. Now let's go to 455. Still transmitting, good power. Now let's get interesting. Let's go into the GMRS range. 462, 5625. So we do 462, 5625, and we're on FRS into a dummy load, remember that. And then let's do the higher end of FRS, 462, 7250. Yep, there we go. There's all your GMRS channels and all your FRS channels. Let's do the FRS repeater side stuff, 467, 7250. All right, there's GMRS, the high end of the GMRS side, 27 watts out. How high can we go? 469, 476 isn't good. 475, not good. 474, 473, 469. All right, so 469, 470 is the edge of the top side. But what other bands do we get? Do we get any other bands at all? Yep, nothing in there. Can we get up to 900? Nope, no transmit on 900. All right, can we do the 220 band? The 220 bottoms out at 219. Can't do it, and it tops out at 225. Can't do that either. Yep, so no 220 coverage. So we talked a little bit about power output when you change the design parameters of the radio to be new design parameters to work on bands that it wasn't supposed to work on. First off, you're not supposed to do this anyway, but second, it's not designed for that, so the filters internal to the radio are going to not allow for the maximum amount of power to get out of the radio. That's number one. Number two, those same filters are going to make this radio dirty on those bands, which is another reason why you shouldn't do that. Is this something you can do in case of an emergency? Sure. Are you going to run into the kind of emergency where you can do this? Who knows? Is it fun to play with electronics? You betcha. That's why we're here. And if you'd like to play with electronics, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year, and your subscribe button right below the video would be aces. I'd really appreciate that. The last time I tried to Mars mod a Yaesu radio was not a lot of fun. I guess they used lead-free solder, and it was inside of a tiny little hole on the back of the FT5D. And it took me a little while to get there. This time it was super easy with the tweezers. I could see what I was doing. I had great access to it. Set the temperature right, squeeze it on, take it off. Done. These tweezers are amazing. There are links in the description down below if you would like to get yourself a set of tweezers like this as well. Otherwise, there's a video right over here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.